Live. Unless there's some problems with the stream health. There shouldn't be, but there was a little bit earlier. Viewer activity, playbacks. Okay, I'm just going to assume it's working at full capacity and just get started. Hello there, everyone. Welcome to everyone's fifth favorite custom card reviewer. A very competitive scene of custom card reviewing. I am the dual man who will be reviewing the custom cards. Today, we will be reviewing Puelli Magica cards. You see, I had someone who was at the $50 Patreon tier where they were allowed to submit a suggestion for custom cards. And they submitted a 50 card archetype based around the anime Puelli Magica. I have reviewed about the other 40-ish cards in other streams and videos. And this is the last of the bunch. There's like 15 of them. Afterwards, there's a Vtuber custom cards. We turned down the music a little bit. The Vtuber custom cards were sent in last week. I wanted to review them there, but people get mad when I review them. So I kind of spread them out a little bit over the weeks. I saw someone on Reddit who created 600 Vtuber cards. And I would really love to review all of them. That just sounds fun. Anyways, this is the last of the Madoka cards. Puelli Magica. I should also note, I had that reward tier before I started the streams. Since the streams have started, I've taken it off. If you go to the Patreon and you pay the $50, you can no longer submit your cards to be reviewed. So this is like, before I took that down. Just in case you're wondering. Reason for that is because I don't want it to feel like you need to pay in order to get on the show. So I just removed it as an option. Also because people were complaining that the only cards I would review are the ones people paid me to review. It's like, no. You have to be lucky now. So, let's get started. It would take more of a month for my cards. Yeah. Maybe. What I want to do one of these weeks, I really want to do like a week where I do nothing but custom card streams like every day and just like get through the huge backlog, review all the cards. The problems with that are I wanted to do that last week, but I had like a bad headache and I just wasn't going to be able to do that with the headaches. The headaches are gone, thankfully. I have vertigo, so sometimes something in my head just messes up and I'll have headaches for a couple of weeks. Thankfully, the headaches are gone now, so I could do that. The other problem is time. I have plans in April. I have projects planned in April. And that is eating up all of my time right now. I don't have any free time. And streaming it's not like a main thing I do. This isn't part of my job. This is something I do for fun, basically. So I'm just completely out of time. So once my big projects are done in April, I can probably do a stream week where I just do nothing but I'll go through all the custom cards that were sent in. That would be great. Okay. So, let's get into it. Have you seen my Greek custom cards on Twitter? I think I have those saved. I do check them. I check Twitter a lot so I can look at, VTuber stuff. Anyways, you might have noticed I changed the background. Someone complained about the boxes, so I made a different box background. I also added a little shadow to the cards to make it feel more in place. I don't think it's a really good shadow though. It needs to be a little bit more transparent. I might just create a custom one. This one is just made with a black box that I just put behind it. Anyways, let's get on into the review. Puelli Magi Witch Ophelia. I didn't know one of the witches was Ophelia. Ophelia is the name of the girl who died in the Hamlet play. So, did you get the note of my reviewing of the Chi Brights? Yeah, I got them. It's a link for Witch Monster. Must be special summoned from the extra deck to either field by attributing 1 Pwali Kyoto Sakura with spell counters, and cannot be used as link material. The attack and defensive monsters this card points to, except Pwali Magi monsters, become 0. Okay, so I guess that's why it has the upward pointing. No, I don't know. You can shuffle this card into your graveyard into the extra deck. Special summon 1 Pwali Magi Kyoto Sakura from your hand, face up extra deck or graveyard. And if you do, place 2 spell counters on it. You can only use this effect once per turn. So you can give this card to your opponent, and monsters it points to have 0 attack. And it can't be used as a link material. And it has 2500 attack. And also as a graveyard effect to special summon a pendulum card. I see. That's a lot. That's a lot to look into. I'm trying to think of the lockdown potential this has. If you give it to your opponent, 2 of their cards, you can put it in a really inconvenient spot and they can't really move it or use it for anything. Because if it can't be used as a link material, that stops a lot. Like, you can get rid of almost anything because the links are so versatile with how they can be used. But if it can't be used for a link material, you can't really use it for anything else because it doesn't have a level, so it can't be used as an Xyz or synchro play. It could be used as a fusion material, but only like in very specific types of decks that would even have something that could use it. So if you give it to your opponent, it's kind of stuck there unless they tribute it. And not every deck has a way to just tribute cards either. Although they could. Interesting. Usually, hey, giving your opponent a link monster, that sounds like a good idea. Why don't they have more cards like that? Do they have any more? Yeah, it was me complaining about the boxes. This background looks a lot better and doesn't hurt my eyes. Okay, good. It's a lot more neutral. Okay. And the graveyard effect to special summon a card is good, which means if you send it to the graveyard in other ways, you can make use of it. I see. Incubator's Entropy Solution. Quick play spell. Destroy 1 Pwali Magi Pendulum monster in your hand, face up Monster Zone or Pendulum Zone. Then special summon a Pwali Magi Witch monster from your extra deck. That specifically lists the destroyed monster to your opponent's field, ignoring its summoning conditions. And if you do, draw 2 cards. I guess you are losing 2 in order to draw 2. And give your opponent a card. If a Pwali Magi Witch monster leaves the field, add this card from your graveyard to your hand. This is not optional. What? You can only use each effective Incubator's Entropy Solution once per turn. Huh, that's interesting. Draw 2 cards, so you're giving your opponent a monster by destroying one of your cards. All of those cards have negative effects for your opponent. And you get to draw 2 cards so you don't lose card advantage, and potentially it allows you to set up your extra deck. And it just comes back? This seems either a little broken or probably not that useful. I can't really tell either way. I guess it's kind of broken. Super poly material? Yeah, but like, you'd have to play super poly. Next up, Hamura's Rewind. Since Hamura is a time traveler, I'm expecting good things from this card. Quick play spell. If this card was set by Hamura, you can activate it the turn it was set. Immediately after this effect resolves, Xyz summon 1 Xyz monster using spellcaster monsters you control. And if you do, its name becomes Hamura. Then, if it is a monster that you can place a spell counter on, place up to 2 spell counters on it. If you used Hamura as one of the materials, the Xyz monster cannot be targeted by your opponent's card effects. You can banish this card from your graveyard, place a Magi monster from your face-up extra deck in your Pendulum Zone. Wait, what? Banish this card from your graveyard. Place one of your Puelli Magi monsters face up in your extra deck in your pendulum zone. So it's like a rank up magic launch? XC summon with one card. Well, I mean, it's a rank up card. Is it a rank up card? No. It allows you to XC summon during your opponent's turn. And then it changes its name and allows you to play spell counters on it. However, I assume there's an XC's card for it. Yep, there sure is. Wonder if it works with the past links. No, you can't XC. You need to be able to properly XC summon first. I'm trying to think, where's the time travel in this, though? There's no time travel involved in that at all. Puelli Magi Irregularity. You can remove up to 2 spell counters from your field to place that many grief counters and Madoka Condome in your pendulum zone. Wait, you can remove up to 2 spell counters to place 2 grief counters. Okay, okay. If I remember correctly, the original Madoka card is like an ultimate falcon who needs to stay on the field for 3 turns in order to gather its grief counters. So this would allow you to bring it out in 1 turn. That's pretty good. During your main phase, you can destroy this card, and if you do, add 1 Puelli Magi Pendulum monster from your face-up extra deck or graveyard to your hand. From your face-up extra deck to your hand, that's a good effect, especially... I mean, you kind of have to give a good effect, is with XC's monsters or synchros that are also treated as pendulums. Since it's so hard to actually get them in the pendulum scale, it's okay for their effects to be really good. And those are 2 really good effects. Okay, now how do you actually bring this card out? 2 level 7 monsters. Oh, that seems difficult. Gains 300 attack and defense for each spell counter on it, max 2. When a monster effect is activated, quick effect, you can detach 1 material from this card, negate the activation, and if the detached monster was Hamura, banish that card. Ooh. That's a good effect. You can only use this effect once per turn. Once per turn, remove 2 spell counters from the field, take 1 card that specifically lists Hamura and its text from your deck, and if it's a spell or trap, set it on your field. Otherwise, attach it to this card as a material. Oh, that's good. This is a good card. So it has a quick effect to negate a monster effect. And once per turn, it can potentially add a material or set the previous card. I'm pretty sure there was others too. More balanced than my card. Yeah, a lot of these are pretty balanced. I can see this one seems like probably one of the best cards in the archetype I've seen so far. Connect. Quick play spell card with a whole bunch of effects on it. Damn. If this card was set by the effect of a Puelli Magi card, you can activate the turn it was set. Remove 1 spell counter from a Puelli Magi card you control. Then, target a face-up monster in the field, apply this effect, depending on the name of the card you removed and spell counter from. So it's, I see, it has a whole bunch of different effects in order to account for all of the different cards. So, if it's Madoka, it loses 1,000 attack at the end of this turn. Okay. If it's Mami, gains 1,000 attack. Kyoko, this turn, its activated effects, activations and effects cannot be negated. So it gives it spell speed 4 protection. Hamura, banish it until the end phase of this turn. Sayaka, this turn, it cannot be destroyed by battle. And Nagisa, this turn, it cannot be destroyed by card effects. I see. I guess the Hamura one is one of the better ones, because it at least turns it into removal. But it also becomes an option to be placed on the field by pretty much all the cards. I see, I see. Will there be any Kaiju archetype cards? There were some sent in. Okay, okay. Next up, Puelli Magi Witch Hamulili. Must be special summoned from the extra deck to either field by tributing a Hamura without spell counters. Does Hamura have a witch form? Cannot be used as link material. If a monster except a Puelli Magi special summon to a zone this card points to, banish that card. Ooh. Although with its arrows, that's not going to happen. Unless you bring this on your side of the field. Wait. Supposed to banish that monster until your next standby phase. You can shuffle this card into your graveyard, into the extra deck, special summon a Humra from your hand, extra deck, or graveyard. And if you do, place 2 spell counters on it. I see. Yeah, this one's way better. Just put it in the graveyard. Nagisa's Surprise, a counter trap. If this card was set by the effect of Nagise, you can activate the turn it was set. When a spell, a trap card, or effect is activated while you control a Pueli Magi monster, negate the activation. Then, if you control Nagisa, you can special summon a Pueli Charlotte from your extra deck. Ignored in so many conditions, but its effects are negated. And if you do, destroy 1 card your opponent controls. Okay. Or effect. So it only negates spell or traps. And if you have its specific named card out, you also get a special summon a card and destroy a card. Okay, that's pretty good. Doppel release. Reveal an ultimate Madoka in your extra deck. Then target a Pueli Magi Pendulum monster you control. Special summon a Pueli Magi Witch monster from your extra deck, ignoring its summoning conditions. And if you do, place up to 3 spell counters on the targeted monster. Shuffle the monster special summon by this effect into your extra deck during the end phase. If this card is in your graveyard, you can remove 3 spell counters from your field, add this card to your hand. You can only use this effect once per turn. Man, a lot of these have, like, you know, go plus from your graveyard effects. Balanced? I don't know about that. Reveal an ultimate Madoka in your extra deck. Target a Pueli Magi Pendulum monster you control. Special summon a Pueli Witch monster from your extra deck. Ignored its summoning conditions. I see. Most of the Pueli Witch monsters are kind of bad, though, for yourself. And then it gets shuffled back later. I don't know. Pueli Magi Octavia. When you say tweet your cards, do you mean just put them in a comment in a random Twitter or in a DM? Yes. You can reply to anything I've ever said and it will send me a recent notification, or you can just create a tweet and just at me. Next up, Pueli Magi Witch Octavia. Must be special summoned from the extra deck or field by attributing a Pueli Magi Sayaka Miki without spell counters. Cannot be used as link materials. Each time a monster's card points to, except a Pueli monster activates its effect, its controller takes damage equal to its attack immediately after it resolves. You can shuffle this card. It's like a better Red Eyes Flare Metal Dragon. Shuffle this card into your graveyard extra deck, special summon Sayaka from your hand, place 2 spell counters on it. You can only activate this effect once per turn. Okay. Yeah, you know, I think part of the reason this archetype is so big is because, you know, it's creating like a witch form, a series of support for each one of the cards. It's kind of like 6 different mini archetypes within itself that all work with each other. Reminds me of a lot of Black Wings, except without the mini archetype thing. Gretchen, this one is for Madoka? Really? Without spell counters, cannot be used as link materials. This one's probably really strong then. Once per turn during the end phase, destroy as many cards as card points to as possible. Once per turn during the end phase, destroy as many monsters as card points as possible, then take damage equal to the combined original attack of the monsters co-linked to this card that were destroyed this way. Oh. You can shuffle this card from your graveyard into the extra deck, special summon a Madoka, and place a spell counter on it. I see. So if you give this to your opponent, and then you co-link it, you could potentially FTK them, right? No, it's original attack. It's alright. Sayaka's Grief. Basically heroes? Yeah, I guess heroes is better. Because there are, like, you know, the Destinies, the Visions, the Vions, and they all kind of work with each other. God, there's more Madoka custom cards than there are actual anime. Yep. There's like a grand total of like 50 of them. It's like reviewing the entire hero archetype, basically. It's worse than heroes. They work together, but these cards can work alone. True, true. Some of the heroes can work together, not all of them. But like most competitive hero decks play all the heroes. If this card was set by the effect of Sayaka, you can activate the turn it was set. And if Sayaka you control can attack all monsters your opponent controls once each. If a Pwali magic card would be from that monster instead. Oh, it's a continuous trap. I was like, wait, how's it doing all this? Oh, because it stays out forever. If a Pwali magic card battles an opponent's monster, after damage calculation, if both monsters are still in the field, that opponent's monster will lose his attack equal to the attack of the Pwali magic monster. Also, your Pwali magic monsters can make a second attack in a row. Holy crap. If it's still on the field. Okay, so I guess it can crash into something, lose one of its spell counters, lower its attack, and then attack again. Gotcha, gotcha. Not half bad on a card that can be searched out from the deck real easily. Charlotte can be special summoned from either field by tributing a Nagisa without spell counters. Cannot be used as link material. You cannot activate spell or trap effects. You can tribute one monster's card points to, negate the effects. This card's effect until the end of the turn. You can only shuffle this card to your graveyard extra deck, special summon Nagisa, place 2 spell counters on it. You can only use this effect once per turn. See, now this is a lockdown card. Give it to your opponent, they can't do anything until they tribute. That's probably one of the best so far. Mommy's Trio Duet. Quick play. If this card was set by Mommy, you can activate the turn it was set. Target 2 Pwali Magi Pendulum monsters you control different names. One monster gains attack equal to half the attack of the other monster. Then, if either of the target monsters is Mommy monsters, your opponent controls loses attack equal to the attack of the Mommy. These effects last until the end phase. Wow, that's confusing. Monsters your opponent controls also lose attack equal to the attack of that Mommy. Okay. So, it's like Ryoku, kind of, except you don't actually lose any attack. You basically just give Mommy a huge attack boost, and then you can lower the attack of all your opponent's monsters by that attack boost. Yeah, it seems decent. Okay. That's it. Those are all of the cards. Whoa, there's a lot of them. I also have the originals over here too. The entire archetype. All 50 cards. So. Wow, that is a lot. That would be way too much in order to review all in one video. There's the Ultimate Madoka. It's basically Ultimate Falcon, if I remember correctly. Okay, so. The entire archetype. Oh, there it is. I was like, don't I have rating like really close on here? So, if I were to rate everything, how is the power level of the archetype? I think some of the cards are sufficiently strong enough where it would be pretty good. Is it creative? Yeah. There's too much creativity, if anything. There's so much creativity, it's kind of hard to really grasp the interactions. You can tell a lot of love and effort was poured into all of their card effects. And would it be viable? Yes. Is there good art? Yeah, all of the art is great. Probably because it's all from the anime, which is good. I like it when people take art and put it in the cards, because not everyone does that. 11 out of 10, not enough witches. Yes, yes. However, the negatives of the archetype. I can't really think of any, other than a lot of them are, some of them are kind of wordy, but that's not really a negative. It's more of a, there's so many of them, and some of them are very wordy with their effects. And they're perfectly balanced. I can't really think of any legitimate gripes of the archetype, of the cards themselves. Very good, but a lot of them are kind of meh. Yeah, that's pretty accurate too. Some of them are pretty meh. Some of them are great. Like, you probably wouldn't use all of 50 cards. Kind of like heroes. There's a lot of hero cards, but a lot of them are kind of bad. You only use like the same 10 hero cards in every deck. Love your channel, just started following you recently. Welcome, welcome, Michael Burnett. Okay, well, yeah, we'll give it a 9 out of 10, just because a lot of the cards, I'd say like half of them are kind of mediocre. But the other half are pretty good. And they're very well balanced. I can only think of maybe one card that might be a little overpowered. And even then, I'm not 100% on that. So, good stuff. QB is bonkers. Madoka becomes Magusia. Exactly. Alright. Now... oh, wait. Let's hide the Madoka stuff. Now... we go over to the Vtubers. I'm sorry, the IDL. I.D.L. First up, let me drink some water. You'd only need about 15 cards, so 25 out of the 50 cards being bad doesn't need to down the rating to a 9. I know, but like if half the cards are kind of mediocre. You know, because we're reading the entire archetype as a whole. That would eventually bring the score down a little bit. But I don't think it even is half. Like, of the 50 cards, maybe 10 of them, maybe a fifth of them are mediocre. Most of them are fine. A lot of them are good. It's a perfectly balanced archetype. Maybe there was just too many cards. Isn't it like Black Wings, half their support are god-awful? It's definitely better than Black Wings, but yeah. Okay, so Marine Maid Minato Aqua. This is a level 8 card. I don't really want to count that. Cyberse effect. If you control an IDL monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. Also, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck for the rest of this turn, except IDL monsters. That seems appropriate. If an IDL monster you control would be destroyed by battle or a card effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard instead. What? Oh, idle monster. Okay. I thought that was generic for a second. You can only use each effect of Aqua once per turn. Okay, it's a good card. Like, if you have a high-level monster, you better have a way to special summon it from the hand pretty easily. That seems pretty easy. And it has a hard once per turn on its summon effect. And it is an effect, right? It's not an inherent special summon. God, I really need to read the rules on what an inherent special summon is. I don't really know the exact wording that makes something an inherent special summon and an effect that special summons. These are not in order. I hate it when it does that. Why did it put all the extra deck cards? I wanted to read the main deck monsters first. There we go. I'm just gonna skip this. I put them in order. Like, they are... Here, let me show you. These stupid things are in order, but it's just not working correctly. So we have the folder. If I come over here, desktop 1, like, you can kind of see the desktop over here a little bit. They're all in order, but they're not when I fucking do this thing, whatever. It's not a big deal. It's just vexing me slightly. Inherent doesn't start a chain. I know, but like, also inherent isn't an effect. It's like a condition. But I don't know the wording which would turn something inherent. Someone's a fan of Pekura. Next up, we have IDL Rabbit Usada Pekura. It's a Cybers level 3 monster. You contribute this card, special summon 2 IDL monsters with different names from your deck. Damn, but their effects are negated and they're banished during the end phase. This is Rescue Rabbit. Also, you cannot special summon monsters from your extra for the rest of the turn except IDL monsters. That's a good restriction. Quick effect. You can banish this card from your graveyard, then target 1 card in your opponent's graveyard and banish it. Wait, what? You can banish this card from your graveyard, target 1 card in your opponent's graveyard, banish it. You can only use each effect of Pekura once per turn. What? That graveyard effect. Oh, he said the 11. Is there a limit of the cards we can send? No, but like if you send in a 50 card archetype, I'm not gonna read it. Because it took me like 4 different streams just to read the Madoka 50 card archetype. You know, unless the archetypes are really good. You know, your chances are very low I'll read a 50 card archetype. But it's not 0. You know? She is a rabbit. Yeah, but that's Rescue Cat's effect. This is Rescue Cat. However, that quick effect, DD Crow from the graveyard, this card would be played specifically for that. Because DD Crow sees competitive play, you know. You can only use each effect once per turn. It is a hard once per turn, though. And it does need to be in the graveyard. You can't use it from the hand. Actually, I don't know. The reason DD Crow sees play is because you can use it from the hand and because it's not a hard once per turn. Getting a card into the graveyard is actually kind of difficult. Especially since you'd want DD Crow to be used during your opponent's first turn. Should have been a DD Crow from the deck. I don't know. That's a good graveyard effect. It's really good, actually. The thing is, its first effect is also really good. I'm just trying to think if this would be broken or not. That's the only thing. Like, it is good. Like, straight up, good card. I'm trying to think, is it like Super Saiyan God Goku? Here, let me show you. This is my measurement for if a card is broke. Is it as strong as Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan Goku? No, but it is good. Oh, I don't know. It teeters for me. It teeters on an edge. Next one, IDL Staff, A-Chan. Cybers, level 1 monster. When this card is normal or special summoned, add 1 IDL Concert Stage from your deck to your hand. You contribute this card, special summon 1 IDL monster from your hand, except IDL Staff A-Chan. Also, you cannot special summon monsters from your extract for the rest of the turn, except IDL monsters. You can only use each effect once per turn. Okay, so it searches and special summons a card from the hand. That seems fine. Aren't Orcus did that already? Orcus need a field spell card to have quick effects for the graveyard. And also, they don't have like generic hand trap like effects. They have Orcus specific effects that don't interact with your opponent. Idle Twin Fox Shiramaki Fubuki. Okay, this is like a level 7 card. Yeah, Cybers, quick effect. You can send this card from your hand to the graveyard, double the attack of all ideal monsters you control until the end of this turn. Damn! Honest for everything? During the main phase, except the turn this card was sent to the graveyard, banish this card from your graveyard, then target 1 ideal monster that is banished or in the graveyard, except IDL Twin Fox Shiramaki Fubuki. Special summon it. Also, you cannot special monsters from your extra for the rest of the turn, except IDL monsters. You can only use each effect of IDL Twin Fox Shiramaki Fubuki once per turn. So, it has like an AoE Honest from the hand, and it has a Mezuki effect from the graveyard. That also works on banished monsters. Shiramaki? That's what it says, Shiramaki. Shiramaki. You know what I love about Japanese names is they're basically pronounced the way they're spelled. Rarely is there like any whatchamacallit, weirdness like with English names where, you know, most of the time they're not pronounced the way they're spelled. Japanese names, like 90% of the time, are pronounced exactly how they're spelled. I like that. And it's spelled wrong? Hey, based on how it's spelled right here, that's how you say it. I'm not very versed in Fubuki. I know who she is. I know she's popular, but I'm not super, you know, in that. Not, what am I talking about? I don't really watch Fubuki, so I don't know what her actual real first name is. Technically Fubuki, and start saving the Vtuber culture. Phonetic traps, you mean? Phonetic traps, you know, it's like Colonel. It's spelled colonel, but it's pronounced Colonel. Or, fuck, I don't know. There's a lot. Her name is Shirakami? Oh. Shirakami. Okay, so it's just Shiramaki. It's just the K and M are mixed up. I use the wiki since I can't spell. I can't spell either. I fucking suck at spelling. Japanese is a very phonetic language. Yeah, I love that. You know, Japanese, I took like 2 years of it in college. And I've learned in my well, it's more like a year and a half. In my year and a half of taking Japanese, I learned that it's very, very difficult. Extremely difficult. Like one of the hardest languages you can learn as an English speaker. Don't do it. But also, I learned a lot of the basics. And I love how the names are pronounced the way they're spelled, and that's not a thing in English. Gura Gura. Okay, this is a good card. It might be broken. That's how good it is. I think it's just broken, kind of. I can't tell. These things they're somewhat balanced, but also like super strong. Okay, next one. IDL Robot Roboco Cybers level 4. You know, Cybers is very appropriate for VTubers. I don't know why I never thought of that until now. Light level 4, low stats. When this card is normal or special, you can excavate the top 5 cards of your deck, and if you do, you can add an excavated IDL card from your hand, shuffle the rest into the deck. You can banish this card from your graveyard, send an IDL card from your deck to your graveyard, except IDL Roboco. You know, these effect once per turn. Wait, what? You can banish this card from your graveyard, send an IDL card from your deck to the graveyard. Oh, okay. That's a lot better. I was like, wait, why would you want to send a card in your graveyard back to your deck? It was the other way around. I just read it wrong, I guess. You can release each effect of Roboco once per turn. Okay, so on normal summon or special, you get to maybe search out an IDL card. And in the graveyard, it allows you to basically have a Shadow... What is it? Shadow Dragon? No. Shadow Lizard? One of the Shadow cards allows you to send a Shadow from your deck to the graveyard, and it's good. However, this one can be used as soon as it's sent to the graveyard. And if you send Pekura... Actually, don't all of these have good graveyard effects? Achan doesn't have one. Pekura has an excellent graveyard effect. Fubuki has an excellent graveyard effect. Roboco can help set up those other ones. I see. Hey, mate, just brought some Yu-Gi-Oh packs. Nice. I have a whole bunch of Yu-Gi-Oh packs in my room that I just haven't opened. She's actually the first Hololive member who became mainstream and eventually started the VTuber culture. Who? Fubuki? I don't know who the first is. Okay. Next up, IDL Concert Stage. I do know this one doesn't do Hololive anymore. Field spell card. When this card is activated, you can add one IDL monster from your deck to your hand. The activation and effect of IDL collaboration during the turn cannot be negated. If an IDL monster in the extra monster zone would be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can destroy one other IDL monster you control instead. You can activate one concert stage per turn. Okay. I don't know what collaboration is yet, but it gives it spell speed 4 protection. Kind of. No, it's not spell speed 4. It just can't be negated. But can the card be targeted? It's kind of like spiritualism. It's not really spell speed 4, but it's basically spell speed 4. Yeah, it's Fubuki, I think. I just tried to bounce him around going second. I see, I see. Well, it's a good field spell card because it searches. Oh, here's IDL collaboration. Fusion summon one IDL fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field as materials. If you use an IDL monster in your extra monster zone as a material, you can also use monsters from your opponent's field as materials. Oh. During your main phase, except the turn this card was sent to the graveyard, banish this card and one IDL link monster you control or in the graveyard. Special summon an IDL monster from your deck with different names. Up to the link rating of that monster. Also, you cannot special summon monsters for the extra rest of this turn except IDL monsters. You can only use one effective IDL collaboration per turn and only once that turn. You see, that graveyard effect is hella strong. It's the fusion effect is fine. Actually, it's good. I just noticed it's quick play. Yeah, quick play spells are really good. Quick play fusion cards. This card might be busted. It might just be too strong. Next up, IDL debut. People making cheating cards. The rest of them were strong, but like, you know, I could see the limitations on it. That one, though. This is like spellbook of judgment levels. Literal super poly? Maybe. I haven't looked at the fusions yet. Ideal debut. Quick. No, it's normal spell. If you control no monsters, or all monsters you control are ideal monsters, special summon one ideal monster from your hand with a different name from the monsters you control. Or if you control an ideal monster in your extra monster zone, you can special summon from your deck instead. Shit. Also, you cannot special monster as a turn except ideal monsters. During your main phase, except the turn this card was sent to the graveyard, you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target 5 of your ideal monsters that are banished or in the graveyard, shuffle them to the deck, then draw 1 card. Or if an idle monster is in the extra monster zone, draw 2 cards instead. You can only use this effect once per turn, and only once that turn. And I'll control special summon idle monster from your deck. That's pretty good. Or hand, if you don't have that set up. It does require setup, and the graveyard effect is basically a pot of avarice, which is fine. I'm laughing at the VTuber, and I'm sad. Got a new paper, read them. My dad is a new paper. Put a hololive water. There's a hololive watermark? No, I think that's just part of the card. The other ones don't have it. I see the debut. It seems fine. It's good. These are all good. There's a lot of swarming and graveyard effects, huh? Yep. Idle comeback. Quick play spell. Quick play trap, obviously. When a spell or trap card is activated, while you control an ideal monster in the extra monster zone, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy it. You can banish this card from your graveyard. Fusion summon one ideal monster from your... by banishing materials from your field or graveyard as fusion materials. You can use 1 effect per turn, only once that turn. When a spell or trap card is activated, negate the activation. If you do, destroy it. Okay, so the first effect is pretty mediocre. The second effect is good, though. Would that be spell speed 3 because it's a counter trap? Would you be able to spell speed 3 fusion summon a monster? Because if so, that's that's really good. The graveyard effect seems really good. Debut comeback. I don't know why this one is comeback, considering this is a member who left. Not really comeback. Your Twitter says you can't be messaged. Yeah, you can't send me DMs. Not unless I follow you. If you want to send me cards, you have to send them through a public tweet. That way I don't get any weird messages. You know, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but sometimes people on the internet can be a little weird. You know, wherever I have places where there's private messages, I get people who will send me messages that are, what's the word for it? They're obviously very lonely people who just want someone to talk to. But I ain't got time for that. And sometimes they just really want attention from someone they like. So they'll just say anything to get a response, which can sometimes be really upsetting. And, you know, they'll use things like, I remember one time, someone got me. They tricked me. They totally tricked me. What happened was, it was on Discord. I don't allow private messages through Discord either, but they sent me a message, very innocuous, basically saying, hey, I liked your last video. This one specific part was great. And I was like, ooh, they used a specific compliment. This is a real person. So I sent them a reply. They're like, thanks, glad you liked it. And then they sent a reply, like, yeah, hey, my wife left me and I just downed 2 bottles of whiskey and I'm gonna die. I was like, oh shit. You tricked me. It's like, I can't just ignore this. It's like, okay, well, if that's true, you should go to the hospital. And then like 10 minutes later, they sent me a message, hey, I went to the hospital. They said I'm good. It's like, uh-huh, sure you did. See, those are the kinds of things I try to avoid with, you know, not having private messages readily available. Yeah. Hate when that happens. Yeah, people, they'll do anything for attention. One of the more common tactics is trying to use pity. It sucks when you have to see it because, you know, I'm a normal human being. But, you know, sometimes they'll get to me. Sometimes they'll trick me. Oh, this happens a lot. I'm sure it happens like way more often to people who are actually popular. Luckily, it's not a super common experience, but it happens because I've been doing this for a while, so I've seen a lot of stuff over the years. Yeah, I like your stuff. I'm dying in the next hour. Yep, that's basically what they said. All right, let's continue. Oh, that was it. No, it's not it. That's the end of the non-extra deck cards. Let's go to the extra deck cards. Okay, we'll go to the very beginning. Can you review my kaiju archetype? Maybe. Okay, next we have Ideal Phoenix Takanashi Kiara. Man, she rarely ever uses that sword and shield. Come down with a humble brag, my 5th best custom card review. It's not a humble brag. I'm a very unpopular YouTuber for like the size I have because my channel is not based on my personality. When you have like a personality-based channel, you know, where your content is kind of secondary to people just liking who you are and what you do with stuff, those are the kinds of people who get the, you know, large volumes of crazy stuff. All the stuff I make is very, like, information focused. Like, it's entertaining, but it doesn't really need me behind it. We could have someone else do the channel and it would probably run the same way. So, let me read this card. It's a high-level fusion. It has Kiara. I assume it has some kind of revival effect. 1 idle monster plus 2 monsters with 2,000 or less attack. Ooh, super poly. Super poly here. They do have an archetype-specific super poly, basically. Also, girls get it much worse? Yeah, they do. I have some female YouTuber friends. They don't have any way to send them private messages. I at least have a couple of avenues for them. They get it 10 times worse. Must be fusion summoned. While this card is in the extra monster zone, it cannot be destroyed by card effects. Nice. Quick effect, you can discard 1 card and then target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls, placed on the top of their deck. Damn. It spins a card? That's really good. During the end phase of the turn this card was destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon this card from the graveyard. And if you do, destroy one monster your opponent controls. Ooh, you can only use each effect of Idle Phoenix once per turn, so it's kind of like a Fire King Gervistrix. Ooh. Sent to the... Oh, only destroyed by battle. Oh, because it can't be destroyed by card effects. That makes sense. I see. This is a good card. I don't see anything wrong with it. It's not broken, and it's really good. Must first be fusion summoned. Yeah, it's a good card. It fits her theme, too. Should be discard to come back? Nah, like the Fire King card does the same thing. And it's not even as good as the Fire King Bursternix. Here, I'll show you. Fire... I don't remember his full real name. Gernerstrix. Gamma Sutra. Fire King Avatar Garunix. After it's destroyed, it brings itself back and it destroys all monsters on the field. But it doesn't have a quick effect Phoenix Wind Blast. However, very appropriate. I just noticed that. Like, I knew what card its quick effect is based off of. But I just realized it's a Phoenix card. Discard one card, target one monster your opponent controls, place that target on the top of the deck. It's a really good trap card. It's not in Duel Links yet because it's really good for that game. Yeah, it's literally Phoenix Wind Blast. That's its quick effect. And that's a really good quick effect. Stop owing, it's when we swarm you oddly. The spin effect is Phoenix Wind Blast if you didn't know. I did know, I just didn't register that it was a Phoenix card. That makes a lot more sense when I said it out loud. Whoa. Ignore the drill barnacle. That's something else. Forbidden limited list. Put this card in the forbidden section of the forbidden/limited card list and put it on the limited section of the forbidden... What? No one can do commentary better than your voice. It's very sexy. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think my voice is that good. If anything, I think it's at tolerable levels because I've spent years practicing. Okay. Very good fusion card. Next up, Ideal Outer Neome Inanis. Let me try that again. Outer God Ninomai Inanis. Ninomane. Is that her name? Ninomane? Ninomae. Ninomai. I'm sure I'm saying that wrong. Inanis. Okay, so Eldritch Horror card. I'm going to assume it has effects relating to the outer entity cards. Omae? Nin Omae? Her name's Ina? I know it's Ina. Ninomai is correct. Omae? Nin Omae? Ninomae. Ninomai? Oh, so the first way I said it was correct. And you took Japanese? I'll have you know. I took Japanese 101, 102, 201, and not 202. And the reason I never took the fourth and final one of Japanese in order to get my credit for the degree is because Japanese 201 was so freaking hard. I almost said a curse word. It was so hard and so difficult that I don't even know how I barely failed. I got a... what's the highest grade you could get and still fail? Because in college, you need at least a C. So I got the highest possible D. And that was my final grade for Japanese 201. I think it was... is it 69? I think I got a 69% in the class. And I have no idea how I got a score that high. Because the class was so hard. A C minus? No, I got the highest possible score you can get while still failing the class in college level. It was like a 69%. And they're like, you can do this for the extra credit for that last 1%. And I was like, whatever it is, I'm going to fail. I don't know how the hell I got my score that high. I should have got a 0% in the class. It was so hard. Like, the class basically required you to study for 4 hours a day. I was like, I have 3 other fucking classes. I can't spend 4 hours on just Japanese and I suck at it. Got the final exam where you had to like talk in full sentences. I didn't get a single full sentence off. And I still got credit for that. Like, I went in and I basically completely bombed the speaking portion. And I also bombed the grammar portion and whatever other portion we had. Like, I did terribly in all the final exams. I didn't say a single sentence in Japanese correctly. I couldn't hold a conversation for the speaking part of it. And I still got like a C on that. And I was like, damn, she's so nice. This teacher is so nice. She was being very nice in the grading, and I barely failed. Anyways, just to say, sure, I took a 1.5 years of Japanese. I know all the basics. But that doesn't mean I know Japanese. Because it's so difficult. The language is so hard to learn. You guys have no idea. Anyways, I haven't read the effect yet. I was just complaining about how hard Japanese is. 1 idle monster plus 1 monster with 2,000 or less attack. Excellent super poly target. Must be fusion summoned. Must first be fusion summoned. Your opponent cannot target idle monsters you control with card effects, except idle outer god Niname Inaznis. While this card is in the extra monster zone, each time your opponent activates a card effect, inflict 200 damage to your opponent immediately after it resolves. Oh, it's like Flare Dragon. When this card is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, you can banish 2 idle monsters from your graveyard, then target 2 spell traps on the field, special summon this card, and if you do, destroy them. You can only use this effect of Ina once per turn. So it has the weaker Flare Metal Dragon effect, which is still decent. If it's destroyed by battle, you can banish 2 idle monsters in order to special summon this card and maybe destroy 2 cards as well. That doesn't seem like it's going to go off very often, because it doesn't have any other protection. Because while this card's in the extra monster zone, it has that effect. Your other idle monsters cannot be targeted with the card effects except this one, so it doesn't have any form of effect protection, but it does grant effect protection to your other cards, and it has to be destroyed by battle in order to special summon itself, but its special summon effect is kind of steep. I try to learn, but it's hard. Yeah, it's super hard. You guys have no idea how hard Japanese is. Learning language is a lifelong process. It could be, but also there are just languages that are straight up easier to learn than others. Japanese is like an S tier level difficulty for an English speaker. Like, an English speaker can learn, Korean or German way easier. Like, 10 times easier. Some languages are just way more difficult than others. Next up, Idol Shinigami Mori Calliope. Is it Calliope? Yeah. 2 idle monsters, plus 2 or more monsters with 2,000 or more attack. Whoa. This is a boss monster. Ina is streaming right now. Must first be fusion summoned. While this card is in the extra monster zone and you control an idle monster other than Idol Reaper Calliope, it is unaffected by other card effects. Oh. And you control an idle monster other than this card. Okay, so it needs another idle monster on the field, and then it gains ultimate Falcon protection. Gotcha. Once per turn, while face up on the field, when a monster effect is activated in either graveyard, quick effect, and negate the activation. Sounds appropriate. When this card is destroyed by an opponent's card by battle or card effect and sent to the graveyard, if all the fusion materials that were used for this card's fusion summon are in the graveyard, you can special summon all of them to your field, but their effects are negated, and they are banished when they leave the field. You can only use this effect once per turn. I like that it's Ultimate Falcon. Its graveyard effect could be stronger, really. Like, it's like a once per turn Necro Valley, essentially. And I think for a Reaper, you could probably have leaned heavier on, you know, stopping the graveyard from doing stuff. If anything, I'd probably give it like a light Necro Valley effect, where cards in the graveyard stay in the graveyard. But that would probably be too strong for, you know, its ultimate falconness. The fact that its ultimate falcon is already decent, but, you know, the requirements to bring it out are 4 monsters. That's a lot. Granted, you could use 2 of your opponent's monsters with you know, the super poly card, but that's still a lot of resources for it. And its graveyard effect would probably not happen because it needs all the targets to be in the graveyard. And if you use your opponent's cards, you know, they might banish their cards or use them as resources. And pretty much all the idle monsters have effects where they move themselves out of the graveyard. So unless it was destroyed immediately upon summon, you're probably not going to be able to resolve its floating effect. English is easy to learn because it's everywhere. A little weak for a boss monster. Yeah, just a tad, because it requires 4 monsters. That's a lot. 4 cards is so many. And, you know, conditionally having Ultimate Falcon's effect is nice. And the Graveyard effect is nice, but I think it could probably do more for its summoning cost. Next one, Idol Oni Nakiri Ayame. Link 2 monster, 2 monsters included in Idol monster. Seems reasonable. When this card is link summoned, you can add 1 ideal spell or trap from your deck to your hand with a different name from cards you control or in your graveyard. Nice restriction. While this card is in the extra monster zone, quick effect, you can target 1 monster on the field and 1 monster you control or in your graveyard. The attack of the first target becomes equal to the second target's attack, but your opponent takes no damage from attacks involving that monster. Ooh, those are some nice restrictions. All these cringe weeb cards, hell yeah. Next one, IDL Twin Fox Ukami Mio. A link 1 monster. This is probably going to be broken. 1 level 4 or lower ideal monster. When this card is link summoned, you can special summon an ideal monster from your hand to a zone this card points to, but it negates its effects. Also, you cannot special monsters from your extra deck except idle monsters for the rest of the turn. You can only use this effect once per turn. Once per turn during your opponent's main phase, while this card is in the extra monster zone, you can immediately after this effect resolves, link summon an ideal monster using materials you control, including this card. That's pretty good. It's kind of like Link Spider, but for idle cards. And it has Masquerina's effect, a special summon during your opponent's turn. Ooh, or is it only during your opponent's main phase? Yeah. Ooh, Link 1 OTK. I don't know if it's an OTK. Hololive only VTuber cards. Dude, there's a dude on Reddit who has 600 of them. I kind of want to review all of those in a stream one of these days. Have you made your own custom cards? Yeah. You want to see one of my custom cards? This one is called Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan Goku. It's level 4, has 5,000 attack and defense. And it can pay 500 life points to special summon itself from the deck. It's unaffected by all card effects and cannot be destroyed by battle. And once per turn, you can inflict damage to your opponent equal to this card's attack. See, this is my custom card. Nothing really beats Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan Goku when it comes to power levels. Except for maybe Ultra Instincts Goku. Idol Shining Star Tokinoa Sora. Ooh, a Link 4. This one probably gonna be good. 2+ monsters, including an idle monster. When this card is link summoned, use it in idle fusion monster as a material. You can target 1 idle fusion monster in your graveyard, special summon to a zone this card points to. Whoa. That's pretty good. Gains 500 attack for each idle monster with different names. Uses materials for this card's link summon. Whoa. While this card is in the extra monster zone, it can attack a number of times each battle phase, up to the number of fusion monsters it points to plus 1. You can discard 1 idle spell, fusion summon 1 idle fusion monster from your extra deck by banishing monsters from your hand, field, or either graveyard as material. What? You can only use each effect once per turn. You do have to discard a specific named, an archetype specific spell card though. The fusion summon's good. The condition balances it out somewhat. And it can only attack directly if it points to fusion monsters. And its attack gain is conditional, you know, based on its effects. So you can negate it and drop it down to 1800 attack. This one has strong effects, but they're all balanced as far as I can see. Who the fuck made 600 custom cards? I don't have a job. I don't have much time. You know, there was a lot of people who said they did more than that. You know, some people just really like making custom cards, and some people just really like, you know, Hololive. There's the WinCon. Yeah, that's how you get all those fusion monsters out. Idle Pirate Commander Hosho Marine. 3 requires 2+ idle monsters. When this card's link summoned, special summon 1 idle monster that is banished or in the graveyard to a zone this link monster points to. That seems really good. Once per turn, if this card is in the extra monster zone, special summon 1 monster from your opponent's graveyard to a zone this card points to. That monster is treated as if it's an idle monster until your opponent's next end phase. You can only use each effect of Marine once per turn. Idle fusion monsters that this card points to are treated as extra monster zones during your opponent's turn. Ooh. Ooh. It special summons a card on its summon. That's really good. It basically is just a link climbing tool. Like crazy. Okay. That's all of them. That's all of the ideal cards. Ideals. Let's give them a rating. Rating. Okay, so. I think only one of them was a little bit broken, right? I can't remember which one it was, though. They were all really good. Not really any mediocre ones. Excellent stuff. Okay, so it's 10 out of 10. No, not 10 out of 10. It's a million out of 10. Excellent stuff. That's the highest score ever. But if we're going to be real, we can give them instead a 9 out of 10. Excellent stuff. Fubuki was busted. Some of them are a little bit busted. True. Also, the effects themselves, while thematically appropriate, aren't super, out there. I like it when cards are super out there with their effects. No memberships? What memberships? 9 out of 10 seems good. They were great cards. Really good. Good stuff. But there's no Ame cards. There's also no Rene cards, exactly. No Ame equals not playable. Yeah, see, that's the only reason the score was not a 10 out of 10. Okay. So. That's it. Basically, I have a deck, Avengers plus DC. I see. One card is going to be using other decks and fuck up the meta? Yeah. Alright, that's all the cards. If you wish to submit cards, how do you send them in? To Twitter, English, images, screencaps. Don't send links. And, I mean, they have to be kind of busted since they're so xenophobic. True, the xenophobic definitely helps balance them out a lot. If they didn't have those, clauses to lock you out of the extra deck, they would be way busted. What are you looking at for next week? Next Wednesday will probably just be normal, cards people send in. This is like going into my backlog. All right. And with that, that's it. I got to get back to work. I'm super ridiculously busy for the next couple of weeks, especially with the April Fool's video I got to work on. So until then, see you all. Who's your favorite VTuber? I really like Rene, Ame, and Gura, and Calliope. And Kiara.